What's up guys, welcome to YugiBOOM, it's Joe again, and I got another deck profile. Today I'm bringing you my pretty pure Dark World deck. So let's get right into this bad boy. YugiBOOM! Alright guys, so starting off for Dark World, so I don't really run much else besides like my own take on ratios for the Dark World engine and a little bit of extra stuff. And I'll show you in the extra deck where you can make room for more link monsters if you want, but I'm just running a couple just to kind of help the plays here. But starting off, we have of course 3 Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World. He's your main pop card. When he's discarded by a card effect from the hand of the graveyard, he'll pop a card. And then if it's your opponent card that discards them, you can then choose a card from your hand, or your opponent's hand, and if it's a monster, you can special summon it. Next, I'm running 3 Brow, Huntsman of the Dark World. He's the one who will draw a card when you discard, so using him for gates is nice to help you get extra draws and get through your deck. And next in the Dark World lineup, I'm currently only running 2 Snow, which is really hard for me to do. I'm really going to take her back to 3 soon, and I'll show you the card that I would recommend taking out for a 3rd Snow, because she's your searcher for any Dark World card, and I'm just really missing her at 3 right now. But for this build currently, I'm testing 2. And then another 2 of is your Beige of the Dark World. I used to run this at 3, but I am running Silva and Gold now, each at 1, and that's why these are only at 2. I still run rank 4s because occasionally you will have you will have the chance or the need to summon something and then get a free summon off this guy. He just summons himself for being discarded. And then, as I just mentioned, 1 Gold Wu Lord of Dark World and 1 Silva Warlord of Dark World. They both do the same thing. If they're discarded by your effect, they'll just summon themselves. They're rank 5, so I do run 1 rank 5. Or they're level 5, so I do run 1 rank 5 in the extra. If by any chance they are discarded by your opponent's card effects, he will let you destroy 2 cards on your opponent's field, and Silva will make your opponent select 2 cards from their hand and put them on the bottom of their deck. And they're just really nice to get free summons to return them to the hand for Grapha. Because when Grapha's in the graveyard, you can return any Dark World monster to special summon him from their graveyard. Next, for our little one-of Fiends, we have of course the 1 Tour Guide, who will summon a level 3 Fiend at your deck, help with either an instant link play or with a rank 3. We run the 1 Scarm to search her out if necessary, a Fiendish Rhino Warrior who will send an additional Fiend to the graveyard if he's sent, and then this is what I am testing right now in place of the Snow. I'm choosing to run 1 Lilith because I've always ran 1 Virus card, and I've had a couple games testing with friends where I get a lot of free summons from my Dark World and she ends up in the hand, and I just normal her having that virus for when I say go for my opponent. So, but if you don't like her in the deck, you can swap her out for the 3rd Snow, and then this deck will still run pretty much the same. For your spells, of course, you got your 3 Gates of the Dark World. This is your field spell. Since you can search it with Snow, you don't really need to run Terraforming. That's also why Snow is also good at 3. Gates will let you, it pumps up Fiends on the field, and it lets you banish a Fiend from the graveyard, discard a Fiend, and then draw 1. And then so you'll draw 1, and then your Dark World monster will resolve. Then to follow the Gates, we got 3 Dark World Dealings. Dark World Dealings is just both players draw 1 and discard 1. It's good. It's nice to use to get all your Dark World effects off easy, and if your opponent has no hand, when you use it, they just have to draw and then discard the card. Then moving on with your draw power, we got 3 Allure of Darkness, since you're running so many darks, and it just helps to get as many draws as possible, and Allure's like never really dead. It sucks to see multiple in hand, but at 3 it's still it's just, the point is mainly just to get through the deck. And then I'm also running 3 Drag Down to the Grave. I've played around with this card, not running it at all or only running it at 2, but now I realize like I need to discard as much as I can, and if you can, seeing your opponent's hand helps a lot. And this makes it so you both reveal your hands to each other, you choose 1 card from each other for them to discard, then you both draw 1. So that's it for anything that really has to do with drawing. And then to round off your spells, you're running 2 Burial from a Different Dimension. And this is just because a lot of the monsters we banish, and sometimes you're gonna have to banish your Graphas. This is just to get everything back in the graveyard. You could switch these if you wanted for the pot card that puts them back in the deck instead, and you just draw one. That's what I'm currently experimenting with. So I'm gonna play a bunch with this, and if it doesn't work out, I'll switch to that card and see which one works better. And then the last one-ofs for your spells, I'm running one Dark World Lightning just to help with back row removal, and if you have a back row for you to pop, it gives you an extra discard. Then one Dark Hole and one Foolish Burial, because Foolish Burial is sending a Grapha or a Fiendish Rhino Warriors just for some extra mills. And then the trap lineup is also up for interpretation. I chose to be the more annoying Dark World, so I'm maining 2 Mind Crush. Since I'm looking at the hand a lot and getting an idea of what my opponent has, I like to discard the problematic cards from their hand. For the Dark World traps, I'm just running 1 Smog and 1 Brainwashing. Brainwashing wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, but it's still worth running at 1 because occasionally you will get clogged with monsters, and if you're facing a deck that's like totally monster effect based and you have nothing but Dark Worlds that continue to special summon themselves, you can just keep looping and negating monster effects with this. So it could be powerful, but it's definitely something you could also take out if you wanted for something else. And then I'm running 1 Skill Drain because it's at 1 Warning, and 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Now, another suggestion I will give is, even though Warning is a powerful card, instead of Warning, I used to run Dark Deal because it's a really trollsy card, but it comes in handy at the most rarest of times. And what that card does is you pay 1,000 when your opponent activates a normal spell, which a lot of the heavy hitting, so like Soul Charge, Monster Born, anything like that, and it changes the effect to your opponent discards 1 random card, or 1 card. In turn, when they activate their Monster Reborn, it pretty much changes it to you get to discard 1 of your Dark Worlds, and now it's getting its additional effect for being discarded by your opponent's card. So just a thought if you want to be a little bit more trollsy in your hand. I also used to run Fabled Ravens to give it some synchro, just to make an excuse to make Omegas, but Links just really hindered trying to run so many types in the extra deck, like types of extra deck monsters. So I just stuck with a little bit more of a pure Dark World build. So going on to the extra deck, the only links I'm running is 2 Master King Archfiend. Now you're never really gonna get the effect where you summon based off the life point and stuff, or I forget the actual effect. It's like once per chain, if a fiend is sent to your graveyard, except during damage up, you could roll a 6-sided die and apply this effect of one of the monsters based on the result. If it's a 1, you add it to your hand, 2 through 5, you shuffle it in the deck, and 6, you special summon it. So, I mean, you could get that, and what I meant by the life points is you just take 500 every standby for having him on the field because he's an Archfiend card. So, my mistake, I confused the 2. You will rarely use that because dice effect kind of suck. But he's just an easy link 2. He's just 2 fiend monsters, and he just helps when you really do need to make multiple exceeds and you have the resources to do so. For rank 3s, I run the 1 Leviair because he's nice with Tour Guide, and especially when you have Dark Worlds banished, like Browse and stuff, you can summon it back, return it to the hand for Grapha, and then you can reuse that Dark World for a discard. And then last is a Ghost Trick Alucard, also to help with the back row. This could be a Break Sword if you wanted it to. I believe Break Sword's a generic 3, but these are my choices for level 3s. For level 4s, it's also up to you, but I chose just to run a little bit of what I lack in the deck. So the Castel to shuffle in problematic monsters. The Heartland Draco because you will have your field spell up a lot, and it's surprisingly easy to just poke a couple times directly when they don't have an answer. And then lastly, a Cowboy just for a little bit of burn. Cowboy could easily be a Rebellion or any other rank 4 you think is more powerful, and you could even cut the rank 4s down to 2 since we are only running 2 beige, but you do have the Snows as another level 4. And then the 1 level 5, also up to your choice, is I run the 1 Volcasaurus. Now, instead of running 2 level 5s, well, way back in the day, I used to run Adrius and Tyrus, but they're just not really that good anymore. Our Volcasaurus is just very random. He's really just my own personal choice. I used to also run the Gaia in case the Volcasaurus got negated, just so I can stack over, but for me, just 1 rank 5, so up to you which you want to run. And then for the last exceeds, it's a bunch of rank 8s. Now this is where I would, if you want to make it more link based, this is where I would add your firewalls and bore loads and your mix, like, you know, your little like proxy dragons, like pointing different direction links. You get my drift. But for me, for my rank 8s, I run Felgran and the Hierarchic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. He's extra pop, he's negate and protection. And then the rest of my rank 8s are all dark, which is the Sanaphon, the Sky Prison. He stops graveyard effects, I believe, and gains attack for every card in the graveyard. Oh, it makes it so neither player can special summon from the graveyard. That's what it does. But it's I'm testing it out. I believe it came in one of the tins or something like that. So I was just like, you know what? Why not? So this is something you could change. But some rank 8s I do like is Zombie Stein. He's just 2 level 8s, so your Graphas are gonna make him really easy. And he's got a 4,500 attack. And then on top of that, during either player's turn, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard and then target a card your opponent controls and change it to defense position. And if you do, its effects are negated. So it can't be used on links, but it can be used on problematic monsters. Take in mind that detaching and discarding together are the cost, I believe, so you won't get the Dark World monsters effect for pitching it from the hand, but it's still a nice body to make. And then I also run number 15, the Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder, because up to twice per turn, you can detach an XYZ material and pop a special summoned monster. So he can pop up to 2 monsters in the same turn. And then if one of them happens to be an exceed, then they take damage equal to its attack. And then last 2 for the exceeds is the Pain Gainer and the 7 Sins. These are just outs and just extra damage. You just stack this over any rank 8 exceed, and then he stacks over any rank 10 or whatever, so you stack him on top. And he just can save himself, and he's a 4K beater. So these are up to you as well. I like my lineup. It gives me a little bit of power in the Dark World deck, especially since nowadays, you know, people get big monsters that are hard to get over. But that's it. Very quick little Dark World deck profile for you guys. The other suggestions I can give is I have mixed this with Shaddolls before. It works very well. Of course, BA. When Grass was still out, I tried at one point to mix all 3. Did a bunch of different shenanigans with Dark World. So if you have any more suggestions out there, if you got any comments or questions, please like, subscribe, and comment below, and we'll try to get back to you as quick as we can. Thanks for watching, guys.